All right, now we're doing 7Q parts of a list. This is by G964, and 89% of people like it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this, and we're going to make an array of arrays, and in the first array we're going to have whatever's at index 0, and then all the others, we're going to combine all the others into a string after it. So it's going to be index 0, comma, the rest, and then it's going to be index 0, index 1, all in its own string, comma, the rest in its own string, and then index 0, index 1, index 2, all the way to infinity. All right? Or actually until r dot length minus 1, I should say. All right, so what we're going to do right here is start off by declaring some variables. We're going to say let, not here though, we're going to say let result equal an empty array, since we're doing an array of arrays. All right, and then we're going to have two utility declarations, and one of them is going to be for this side, and the other one's going to be for this side. All right, so we're going to say side 1 equals, and it's just going to be a string, all right, and then side 2 equals a string, all right, and now we're going to do a double for loop, and we're going to do an I that iterates through until r dot length minus 1, and then we're also going to do a j that goes up and takes pretty much everything that's before the I and puts it into this string. All right, so we're going to put everything that comes from r at j into side 1. All right, so we're going to say for let I equals 0 while I is less than r dot length minus 1. We're going to say I plus plus, and then we're going to do it again, and we're going to say for let j equal I, all right, and if, let j equal 0, and if j is less than I, we're going to say I j plus plus, like that. All right. So yeah, everything before the I is what j is going to be picking up. All right, and so what we're going to do here is now we're going to say, here we're going to say side 1 plus equals r at whatever j's at, all right? And we can console.log this right here to see how it's going. We're going to say here, outside of this for loop, we're going to say console.log side 1 so we can check it out. Alright, so I wish. So as you can see, we've got this, and it keeps adding the I when it doesn't need to, and that's because we need to make sure this first one that goes in is, we need to make sure that they're separated by spaces. So to do that, we're going to say if, all right, and j does not equal 0, we're going to say do a space. So we're going to say what are we going to say? Side 1 plus equals a space, like that. Now let's test it out, see what it looks like. All right, now it looks pretty good, sorta. We still got this I wish I thing. So what we're going to do to clear that up is, it's actually at the end of this for loop, we need to clear out side 1. So we're going to, right here, we're going to say side 1 equals this. All right, test it out. All right, and since side 1 got cleared out, now we can't even see side 1 anymore, and that's a good thing. So now let's do side 2 and clear it out. That's good. And what we're going to do with all this, we're going to say result plus equals, and then we're going to say, excuse me, that's not what it is. It's an array. So we're going to say result.push, and let's push into its side 1. And now let's do console.log result. All right, test it out. All right, so now we've got this going on, and we just got to get rid of this thing here. So we'll get to that in just a second. Let's actually throw this into an array because we're making an array of arrays. Test it out. Okay, I wish I, and we just need to somehow get rid of this. And we'll figure it out. We're going to figure this out. We'll figure this out in just a little bit. But actually, let's take care of putting in side 2 while we're at it. So let's say after this for loop, but still within this for loop, we're going to say for, and we're going to say let k equal I, because we're going to be starting at I instead of being, we're going to take everything after I instead of everything before I. And while k is less than r.length, because it's going to go the whole length of it, we're going to say k++, iterating through just like usual. All right? And we're going to have here, we're going to do the same, all this same stuff right here. We're going to say if k is not equal to 0, oops, side 2 will plus equals a space, like that. And then we're going to say outside of it, side 2, outside of the if, but still within the for. Let me do this real quick. We're going to say side 2 plus equals r at k. All right? And then we're going to push inside here, comma, side 2. All right, let's take all this, get rid of it. All right, now let's test it out, see what it looks like. All right, now it's still got this thing, but it's still looking a little bit better. All right, now what have I done that I didn't do? And I think I forgot to put an equal sign about this one. Let's see if that works. I wish I hadn't come. I wish I hadn't come. Does that look good? Does that look good? I don't think it does. Oh, look, because it's not an array of arrays. Let's put that into an array like that. Test it out. Yes, that looks like what we're looking for. No, we're not looking for this I wish I hadn't come. All right, so what's the problem here? All right. I plus 1. We need this to start at the index after I. All right, let's see if that works. All right, now that looks like what we're looking for, except for we don't want this space in front of wish. All right, so what do we do to fix that? Ah, yes. Okay. We're going to change this to this. All right. Test it out. My goodness, how bad. Anyway, there we go. It looks good. Let's return the result now. Return result. Still didn't work. Too many. I see what's wrong. Test it out. Okay, good. Oh my goodness. All right, attempt it. 40 milliseconds. All right. And now let's do the concise syntax, because it's a lot less typing than this. So we're going to say const here, part list, we're going to equal that to r, and then we're going to take all this and turn it into an arrow. All right. So for this one, we're going to be using the map function, map method, which creates a new array populated with the results of calling a provided function on every element in the calling array. So basically here, it's going to take this, every element from here, multiply it by 2, and return it down here. So 1 times 2, 2, 8, 18, 32 from 4, 9, and 16. All right. But we're not going to be using this element. We're not going to be actually using what the x is here. We're going to be using the element index syntax right here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to say r.map. All right. And instead of the element, we're just going to have this little underscore to mean that we're not going to even bother with it. Underscore, and here index right there. All right. And now here we're going to fill up in an array. We're going to do the side 1, which we're going to use this slice method. Which the slice method returns a shallow copy of a portion of any array, of an array into a new array object selected from start to end. End is not included. You got to remember that. Where start and end represent the index of items in that array. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to go from 0, which will be back here, to whatever the current index is, to do side 1. All right. So we're going to say r.slice from 0 to the current index, just like that. But the thing is, we can wrap this up in a console.log to test it while we go. Test it out. The thing is, when we do this, we get this one here, because the first thing goes from 0 to index, and like we said on slice, the end is not included, so the first index will not be there. So it's going to be like this. So at the end of this, we're going to slice again, and remember this parentheses is the console.log parentheses. So after this parentheses, we're going to say, what are we going to say? We're going to say dot slice, and we're going to slice it from 1. So we're going to slice it from this one on, all right, and test that out. All right, and now that's taking care of that situation. All right, so now let's do side 2. Actually, no, what we also have to do is, you see how these are apart? We need to join these together and make it one single string. So the join method creates and returns a new string by concatenating all the elements in an array separated by commas or a specified separator string. And we're going to separate it by spaces. So let's run this. It's going to be just like this: fire, air, water, with spaces in between. All right, so we're going to say here, after index, dot, what were we using? Join. All right, and there's the space right there. And now we're going to do comma, and we're going to pretty much do the same thing, except for we're going to do it from index. In fact, we can just take this whole thing, drop it right in there, and do it from index, right? So it's going to start at the index instead of ending at the index, and go to the end of the array, do the join and all that stuff. Let's test it out again, and it looks like exactly what we want. So we can get rid of this console.log, test it out. It works, 2 milliseconds. The other one was 40 milliseconds. This one is 37, so the big winner is Concise Syntax. And we're going to submit that. All right, very much like this one. Let's go to My Solutions. Just a few of us, best practice in my opinion, and we'll see you next time.